Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Nice that you're all here. Thank you for watching. You know, today was pretty wild, I guess. Went out this morning about, I don't know, 9:30, I guess, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, the fucking traffic out there was crazy. But there was like parts on the road of like glass, and then there was a fender, and then there was, you know, all these things all over the road. And I'm saying, you know, that probably explains why yesterday there were so many, you know, all the fucking time. Not a lot of people getting into accidents here, going shopping, you know, and I remember I said a while back in a previous video, I think earlier this year, about I've noticed a lot of cars on the road today. Nice looking cars too. They look like they're practically new, but they got great big dents on them, and the front end is like both headlights are smashed and stuff, and they look like they just got these things off the fucking lot. And I'm thinking, what the hell's going on around here anyway? Can't people drive? You know, I never seen so many broken and beat up cars in my life. I mean, honestly, I can't believe it. I mean, it's insane how people around here have been driving. And it's like I said, I said there was a car that I had saw where both the headlights were smashed, right? But the front of the car itself, in the middle of the headlights, was untouched. I'm to this day, I'm still trying to figure out how the hell can someone get into an accident where both the fucking headlights are smashed straight up into the wheel well, but the rest of the car in the front is not, you know, the hood's fine, the front of the, you know, the grill's fine. How the hell, what kind of an accident can you get into that? I mean, you know, but it, you know, that's what I see here. And, you know, I see nice pickup trucks with, you know, a busted tail light or a big dent in the side of this, you know, where the, in the bed next, you know, the bed wheel well or something, you know, got T-boned, I guess. And, you know, I'm just thinking, you know, it's crazy. It's like people around here are just daredevils now. They drive like maniacs around here. Christ. But it's just, I don't know. I mean, for a small town, you know, you would expect something like this in a big city where there's a lot of traffic, but you know, I've noticed all year long, I mean, people driving nice cars, and then when they turn or they go, you see a big old fucking dent somewhere on the, it's like, Jesus, you know? So I don't know, somebody's gonna have to explain to me why driving has gotten so dangerous around here, you know, Christ. I mean, I'm lucky that I haven't been in an accident yet, you know, but you know, I'm a pretty careful driver, you know, I don't go fast ever. You know, I still do 60 miles an hour on the interstate, so everybody passes me all the time. I don't do 70, and I drive really slow. And you know, some people say, well, when you drive too slow, you're actually becoming a hindrance to everybody else, and you're making yourself an accident waiting to happen. I say, well, speed kills, slow doesn't. You know, if everybody takes their time instead of racing around, you know, to get somewhere in 5 minutes, I mean, then maybe there'd be fewer people getting run over and fewer dents in other people's cars. Jesus. It's not a wonder insurance rates are so fucking high around here. Jesus. I don't know. But like I said, I was kind of surprised at all the cars I was passing or saw in the parking lot, dented, damaged in some way, and the cars aren't old. The cars are not old. They look fucking brand new, and they're already got huge damage on it and stuff like that. You know, it's going to cost a fortune there for some of these people to fix what they did. So I don't know. Anyway, I got this video from Raw News. It talks about an ICE agent. Apparently, this has been something that's been going on here, an issue or an article or a story that's been going on since April or July, I guess, I don't know, about an ICE agent. So I thought it was interesting. So I thought maybe you would like to see it. So let's go to that video here, and then we'll come back.
Welcome to the show. So I found him, you guys. I found him. I found a dangerous man who was caught inside a woman's bathroom in a restaurant right here in Southern California. And he had a gun on him. And he was a drug and alcohol user. This is exactly what MAGA has been warning us about. So I guess we owe them an apology. Or, no, because he was a MAGA man. Not only that, he was a Border Patrol agent. So take a look at this. So this all went down in July. It's just now being reported. Evidently, 29-year-old Isaiah Hodgson, I think is how you pronounce it. He was at a restaurant in Long Beach, California. He got drunk. He walked into the women's restroom. Hodgson pulls out a gun. He also pulls out a loaded magazine. And this is in the restroom, so he lays it on the counter, and then he starts coming on to a woman who's in there. She told the police this, that he called her sweetie, and then he asked her, oh, do you want to go on a date with me? And then he pulled out the gun again when he went outside. So this is him that you see in the photo here. He goes outside, pulls out the gun, according to the restaurant security guard who was on duty. Now, everyone involved confirmed he never pointed the gun at anyone. He wasn't like menacing people with it, but they were freaked out because, you know, you don't see people in Southern California walking around with a gun in their waistband very often. So the police were called. They arrived. They tried to get Hodgson to come with them. They tried to take him into custody. He starts fighting with the officers. He's cursing at them. Then Hodgson was seen and heard on video, on body cam, I should say. And he says to them, quote, "I'm BP. Are you guys stupid?" So Border Patrol. So again, just like we've seen with these other guys, oh, I'm ICE, guys. You know, they try to get out of it. They think this is a get out of jail free card. So eventually, the police had to taser him. They had to taser Hodgson to take him into custody. So they arrest him. They take him to a hospital. I don't know why, but once they got him there, they said that he continued to be combative with the officers. Hodgson then tells the police that he was doxxed online. And then later, they take him to jail. He breaks down and he tells an officer, quote, "I made more than fucking one mistake, man." Because the officer was like, "Look, guy, you made a mistake. I get it. You know, it's going to be okay." And he breaks down. He's like, "Look, I made more than one fucking mistake. Everyone just fucking hates me. Do you know how many fucking people are after me over here in Los Angeles? You're having your fucking personal information pumped up online and on the fucking news. Have you ever had people standing up at your parents' house because you're over here in Los Angeles doing everything? That's the fucking guy I am." So apparently what he was talking about, Hodgson was one of the agents that was involved in that Pico Rivera takedown. I'm sure you guys will remember this. I talked about it at the time. I think I shared the video with you guys. So there was a 20-year-old U.S. citizen, U.S. resident, a guy named Adrian Martinez. He was shoved to the ground and then arrested by ICE just because he was recording their violent detainment of another man. And so he walks up, he's recording, and he tells the agents, like, hey, you need to back off. You're being too aggressive. So this was all over the news. And Hodgson was one of the very few, which I give him credit for, he was one of the very few of these Gestapo agents who wasn't wearing a mask. So, the rest of Trump's cowardly agents, ICE agents, they were all wearing masks. So people figured out, they did a reverse lookup or whatever. They figured out who Hodgson was. They targeted him and his family, which I don't agree with. I think that people should stop doing that shit. But anyway, that's what Hodgson was talking about. And I'm not saying, don't target these ICE agents, but, why go after their family? Like, their family didn't do anything, right? It's just, don't, Anyway, in any case, Hodgson was for this incident that occurred in Long Beach when he got drunk and pulled out the gun. He was charged with numerous crimes. So he was facing up to 7 years in state prison. Because he was charged with 3 counts of resisting an executive officer, 1 count of battery against a police officer, and then several misdemeanor counts for exhibiting a concealable firearm in public, carrying a concealed weapon, and carrying a loaded firearm. And I say he was facing those charges because Hodgson apparently tragically died. He died in late August of cocaine toxicity. I don't want to make light of this man's death. I would not wish that on him or his family ever. At the same time, we have to acknowledge that Trump's administration, especially DHS, they appear to be a hot mess. They seem to be attracting people with issues. We have seen this repeatedly. Right? I mean, we saw the one man who was driving drunk with his kids in the back seat, couldn't walk a straight line, didn't even know where he was. Like, they're just attracting people who have issues. So this is what you're going to end up with. This is the problem. I mean, it's kind of like, and I wrote about this in my book, it's kind of like the people who are willing to take the jobs at factory farms. You're getting people with criminal histories. You're getting people who have a sadistic streak. You're getting people who are very often sociopaths or psychopaths, because to watch animals be slaughtered and, in fear. And you have a lot of incidences of physical abuse, sexual abuse. So these are the people that are attracted to that. That is what you're going to get. It's the flies to shit analogy. So that's what you're going to get with ICE. That's what you're going to get with the Department of Homeland Security. These are the types of people who are attracted to this type of work. Anyway, guys, if I hear any more, I'll let you know. I think, this case is pretty much done at this point, sadly. Had a tragic ending. So anyway, but if I hear of any other ICE agents, which I'm sure I will, and, issues that they're having with the law, I will definitely let you know. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care, talk.
Yeah, I guess it's hard to feel bad, for somebody who was doing things, working for ICE, and got involved in that incident. And like she said, he wasn't wearing a mask, so everybody was able to figure out who he was. I'm of mixed feelings about it, as you can see. I haven't really decided whether to feel bad that the guy offed himself, or that or not to feel bad because he was doing some nefarious shit as an ICE agent, okay? But I figure, well, he was young, I guess. He wasn't that old, but and you know, they're asking these people $50,000-$60,000, come be ICE, okay? And I'm thinking, you know, that's quite a tempting offer for people that are in debt up to their eyeballs. You know, they figure, well, I'll get that money, I'll do the job, I'll wear a mask, nobody will find me, and I'll do whatever they need me to do, but I need that money. And just the other day, there was a fucking Kristi Noem commercial talking about trying to get people recruited to join ICE, okay, which I find very offensive, okay, considering what they're doing. That'd be like Adolf Hitler asking people to join the Gestapo in a commercial, TV commercial. And I'm thinking, you know, I can see the bullshit in that commercial, but a lot of young people can't, okay? They don't see that. They think it's an opportunity. They think it's like joining the military, okay? But what they don't understand is that what they'll be asked to do is going to eat at them for the rest of their fucking life, if they have a heart at all. But in some instances, they're not going to get people of a conscience to join their military force, or whatever you want to call it, okay? A lot of these people are probably folks who have no education, have no military experience, might even be criminal in some fashion. And these people, again, for the money, will do what they need to do to get that fucking money. And all I can say is, you know, that's these things that's going on, these things that are happening, these roundups and shit, normally would not be done to the scale using ICE agents, okay? They wouldn't be doing it this way. The police would be involved in it more than they are, because they're expected to be able to handle a situation better. They're trained, right? They're trained. Border Patrol agents, the real ones, are trained to deal with this, but there's not enough of them, okay? And the ones they've hired to do the job have only made things worse, because the public sentiment against them has deteriorated so much that now they put their lives on the line every time they go out to go and get somebody. They have to do it, you know, in the dead of night, or set up a sting to get these people, because they just can't go in, you know, in everybody's face and get these people, because, you know, hey, they could turn on you, that somebody might be there with a gun and one of these people gets shot. I mean, this is what they're looking at here now, because they've fucked it up so bad that the public simply doesn't trust them anymore, okay? These people used to work amongst us without nearly a signed scene, okay? They would round these people up and no one would ever know about it, and it would be done and there'd be no incident. But now these people come out in full force, tanks and all that shit, you know, marching down the road, intimidating everybody. Now they ain't so quiet about it. And now, you know, these people are getting pissed because they're showing up in their communities. They're showing up at their businesses, their jobs. They're showing up everywhere, okay? They never did that before, because that's not the way they worked, okay? They would get these people legally, you know, they'd go through the due process, and that's how it was handled, you know, in a civilized fashion. But Trump wants the civility taken out of it, so it looks vicious, it looks vindictive, it looks violent. That's what he wants, because he wants to agitate the public. He wants people so fucking mad that they'll do something, okay? And then he can say, well, it's so dangerous in this country, I'm going to have to declare martial law. Well, since we know where the trap is, okay, because the first part of avoiding a trap is to know of its existence. Well, we know is what Trump is up to. He wants us to step into that bear trap, okay? My point is, if the only path, okay, to salvation is through the bear trap, then we've got no choice but to go into it, because this guy is not going to accept us taking any paths around it, okay? It's like, remember that movie, The 300, okay? There's only one way Xerxes could get into Greece, was to go through that fucking area. They had to go through the gauntlet, essentially, against the 300 in order to get there. There's no other path. So this is kind of what Trump's done. He's laid a path in front of us that we can't avoid, we can't go around, and we can't not go through it. Okay, because we can't allow this to continue in our country. If we give a shit about it, we got to stop it. And the only way to stop it is to step into the bear trap. And that's how I see it. He's given us no alternative here. We certainly can't expect our congressmen and our senators to stand with us, okay, because they've done a very, very stellar job at backing up the Constitution on their part, especially the Justice Department, okay. We got no alternative, people. We have no fucking alternative. And to wish that, oh, something will happen, or maybe it'll happen, or to hope that cooler minds will prevail, it's gone way past that. The cooler minds are no longer cool anymore. Okay? They're blowing their tops. They're getting pissed off. I can feel the fucking tension out there. People are ready for something. They're ready for something. They are ready to revolt. They're waiting for somebody to pick up the fucking gauntlet and revolt. And they will all crowd in behind them. I feel that right now. I do. It's out there. It's like, you know. So I can't imagine that we're going to stand for much more of this shit. Okay, from Trump or ICE or whatever. Okay, the media isn't really helping, you know, by giving us facts. All they're doing is dumping more gas on the fire, basically, by taking what Trump says, which is bullshit, and throwing it on our laps, pissing us off all the more. So they're like the medium in between us. That's what they're doing. That's why a lot of people today don't even want to watch the news anymore, because all they're getting from it is just more and more and more gas. All right, they're sick of it. That's why that's why they say, oh, the ratings are going down for CNN, they're going down for MSNBC, they're going down for CBS, NBC, you know, ABC. Of course they are, because people are sick and tired of the fucking bullshit. Everybody. All we get from the news these days is crap. More Trump this, more Trump that, you know, and it's always bad news, you know. And even though, you know, they're supposed to report it, they're not reporting it in a way that's informative. They're reporting it in a way that angers us, but we're not really informed. Do you see what I'm saying? We're not getting all the details. We're just getting what's on the surface, and that's it. And they don't bother to take any time at all to dig into the problem to find the facts. They just throw it out there and see and watch the wolves going after and eat it. I mean, that's what they do. That's not being a journalist. Okay? That's not what a journalist is supposed to be. You know, a real journalist investigates to get the facts. Okay? Because we can't do it. We can't do it, but our press can. They have rights. Okay? Now, Trump can deny them those rights all he wants, but people who give information to the press are protected. All right? And there ain't a fucking thing he can do about it. So I just feel like, you know, this is, you know, one of these times here where everything, all the dominoes are set. I see it, you know. I see it as clear as day. The dominoes are all positioned exactly where they need to be. All it's going to take is one push from that one domino, and all the fucking dominoes will fall. And that's where we are right now. It's only going to take one fucking thing to happen, and that's it. It's all over. Okay? Fuck the idea that people are out of work. Fuck the idea that wages are low. Fuck the idea that cost of living is through the roof. Fuck the idea the housing market is down. The economy is not going very well, and only the wealthy are making money. Fuck all of that. That's not what's going to do it. That's not what's going to topple it. Okay? It's not. We've gone through variations of all those things throughout the lifetime of this country. Okay? There's always been something in one of those things that needs to be done. This time it's different because not only are we getting all these things at the same time, but we're also getting these things in a regime that's lawless, okay, has destroyed the lives of so many families in this country already. You've got blood on the hands of, Donald Trump, okay? And he's got our people involved in things that are unethical, okay? And he's surrounded by sycophants who don't seem to give two shits about, what's happening in this country and what Trump does, okay? They don't care. So everything is ready to come down, because before we could always depend on law-abiding people in our government to intervene. They would have intervened already if there were still law-abiding people in the government. But guess what, folks? Trump thought of that too. All right? So, here we are where our butts are hanging in the fucking wind. And, the rest of the world is hoping that we will rise to the occasion and do what needs to be done the way we rose to the occasion in World War II. But remember, what caused us to rise to the occasion in World War II was the attack on Pearl Harbor. We're going to have our Pearl Harbor moment in this country before we rise to the occasion. It hasn't happened yet, has it? Because if it did, there would be no discussion about this now. But our Pearl Harbor event is going to happen before we rise to the occasion. On that, and that's really what I see here that needs to be done. So let's go to commercial break. We'll be right back.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Roxy Sugar, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you. Original.
Stephen Miller designed it. Donald Trump demanded it. Kristi Noem and Holman ordered you to do it. Illegal deportations, mass raids, rounding up people who are here legally, arresting citizens, family separations, snatching students off the street for tweeting, detention without hearings, shipping them to foreign prisons, deportations defying court orders. When government agents like you abuse your power, when you trample civil and constitutional rights, you can be held personally liable in civil court. You can lose everything, and Trump can't pardon you. That includes ICE, that includes CBP, contractors, DOJ, even the White House. Yep, every last Trump official pulling the strings. Even, well, especially the lawyers. If you think you're safe behind badges and titles, you're wrong. You do a hard, dangerous job. You're vital to our security. But what they have you doing now isn't law enforcement. It's just lawless, and you'll pay the price for following illegal orders.
Or a condo up in heaven, might not even be allowed inside on account of my transgressions. But now as my acuity fades and my ankles start to swell, it's starting to occur to me that I may be bound for hell. I've done so wrong without a care. Daddy made me a millionaire, but now I'm worried. Can't you tell that I got a one-way ticket straight to hell? Could I pay you to take my place? Lend me your halo, harp and wings. I'm asking nicely, should get some credit. Normally I just take them and do my thing. One guy with lots of haters. I done so wrong without a care. Daddy made me a millionaire, but now I'm worried, can't you tell, that I got a one-way ticket straight to hell. Sex assault, he said, she said, fudging numbers to get ahead, ignoring science, had fun instead. Bad decisions got people dead. Straight to hell.
I really hate that sad loser, Mr. Newberger.
Who, me?
I think between the couple, girl, but I am a few person of your love. So I will leave you in your side you have lost.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Another piece of news here. Welcome back, everybody. Another piece of news from ABC here. That'll brighten your day. Written by Olivia Rubin. Georgia prosecutor drops election interference case against Trump and others. The Fulton County Georgia election interference case against President Trump and others has been dismissed after the prosecutor who took over the case requested that it be dropped. Quote, in my professional judgment, the citizens of Georgia are not served by pursuing this case in full for another 5 to 10 years, unquote. Unquote. Really? They're not served? Pete Skagandalikas wrote, the executive director of the Prosecuting Attorneys Council of Georgia, who took over the case after the original prosecutor was disqualified from the case. Within minutes of Skandalakis' court filing, the judge overseeing that case granted the request and dismissed the case. Quote, this case is hereby dismissed in its entirety, unquote, wrote Fulton County Judge Scott McPhee, who earlier this month had scheduled a December 1st, quote, status pretrial, unquote, hearing in the case. Trump and 18 others pled not guilty in August of 2023 to all charges in a sweeping racketeering indictment for alleged efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election in the state of Georgia. The charges, which were brought by Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis following Trump's January 2nd, 2021 phone call in which he asked Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger to, quote, find the votes needed to win the state, allege that the defendant solicited the state leaders throughout the country, harassed and misled a Georgia election worker, and pushed phony claims that the election was stolen, all in an effort for Trump to remain in power despite his election loss. Trump and the other defendants surrendered to authorities at Atlanta's Fulton County Jail, where Trump was released on a $200,000 bond after having his mugshot taken in a first for a former U.S. president. Defendants Sidney Powell, Jenna Ellis, Kenneth Cheeseborough, and Scott Hall later took plea deals in exchange for agreeing to testify against other defendants. Willis was subsequently disqualified from the case following accusations of impropriety regarding her relationship with a fellow prosecutor, leaving a council of Georgia attorneys to assign an independent prosecutor to take over the case and determine its fate. Skandalakis took over the case himself earlier this month after he was unable to find someone else to accept the job. Trump celebrated the dismissal of the case on his social media platform, slamming the prosecution and writing, quote, the few remaining Democrat witch hunts will soon meet the same embarrassing end. We are going to keep winning and continue to make America great again, unquote. That's a threat, people. He ain't celebrating. He just issued a threat. In a statement, Trump attorney Steve Sadow said, quote, the political persecution of President Trump by disqualified DA Fani Willis is finally over. This case should never have been brought. A fair and impartial prosecutor has put an end to this lawfare, unquote. A spokesperson for former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, who was disbarred from practicing law in New York and the District of Columbia over his efforts related to the 2020 election, lauded the dismissal. Quote, the decision to dismiss all criminal charges against Mayor Rudy Giuliani is long overdue and represents a complete repudiation of the demonstrably false claims that partisan actors used to justify his improper disbarment, unquote, Giuliani spokesperson Ted Goodman said in a statement. Defendant John Eastman, a former Trump attorney, told ABC News the lawsuit, quote, should never have been brought, unquote. Quote, I'm delighted that the replacement prosecutor recognized that challenging illegality in an election is not a crime, unquote, Eastman said. They still haven't proved that there was any illegality at all. You know what I'm saying? Okay, these people are basically, it's still in the air. The evidence is still out there. They just didn't get the right people to pick it all up to convict these fuckers. Okay? They're still fucking... as far as I'm concerned, the matter isn't closed because we're back at square one where we have issue here with what went on, okay? And we got evidence, we got the phone call as a smoking gun, we got Trump trying to fucking bully people, okay? We got all the evidence we need to convict the son of a bitch. We just didn't do, they didn't do it the right way with the right person. That, this Fani Willis thing was blown out of proportion, okay? To show like, oh, well, she's, I'm like, I'm sorry, but you guys, you took something, peddled it as, oh, this whole case is no good, and you used one person to justify that, and there were suckers enough to be able to believe it, okay? And then you got some fucking asshole prosecutor to pick up the fucking gauntlet and basically surrender, okay? That's what you did. It's ridiculous. Following an 8-month investigation by the then special counsel Jack Smith, Trump pled not guilty in August of 23 to charges of undertaking a, quote, criminal scheme, unquote, to overturn the results of the 2020 election by enlisting a slate of so-called, quote, fake electors, unquote, using the Justice Department to conduct quote, sham election crime investigations, unquote, trying to enlist the vice president to, quote, alter the election results, unquote, and promoting false claims of a stolen election as the January 6th riot raged. After Trump was reelected last year, the case was dismissed without prejudice due to the Justice Department's long-standing policy barring the prosecution of a sitting president. Yeah, and that explains right there why Trump had to win, doesn't it? Okay, that explains why his ass had to be in the White House in order to shut all this down. Okay, because that's what he did when he got in there. He shut this whole thing down, the whole investigation and all that stuff. Okay? And then now he's got this whole thing dismissed there out of court. That was his only recourse. He had to win. He had to get back in there, which why a lot of people to this day say because he had to win, he had to make sure that Kamala lost. Okay? He had to make sure that she lost. In a 22-page filing explaining his decision to drop the case, Skandalakis wrote that the allegations and case theory are not a viable basis for prosecution. The case theory. Where was the theory? That's what I'd like to ask him. Where did you see theory used in the case that was brought against him? It was everything that was said about Trump in that case was backed up by fucking facts, okay? None of that was made up. I mean, doesn't anyone still remember the phone call? Because you can still listen to it online. It's out there, okay? It's like quite a long phone call. And you got him on the record, public record, trying to pressure Georgia to fucking find me some votes, Jesus Christ. Let's see, where did I leave off here? Okay, Skandalakis wrote that the allegations and case theory are, quote, not a viable basis for prosecution, unquote, and noted the timing and logistical difficulties of continuing the case, specifically against Trump. He acknowledged the seriousness of the case, writing that the indictment, if proven, quote, would establish a conspiracy undertaken by multiple individuals to overturn the result of the November 2020 election, unquote, but said that trying a criminal case against Trump would not be feasible, according to who? A president commits a crime, and you say, well, prosecuting him for the crime would not be feasible. Really? Since when? Okay, since fucking when does holding a public official to a fucking status or a standard considered not feasible? Who the fuck are you kidding? You got all this information, as I just said, floating around out there. Okay, phone calls, people coming forward, emails, all this stuff out there that proves that this is not coming from some fucking MAGA conspiracy loon. This is all real stuff. This is information that we've compiled that builds a case, that explains a story of what Trump was trying to do, that any jury that would see that would know, yeah, he did commit a crime. But they couldn't let that be seen by a jury, could they? They couldn't let that happen. They had to get somebody in there to shut the case down, okay, to surrender, as it were. That's this prosecutor. That's what they had to do. And I guarantee you, if you ask Fannie Willis, she would tell you, we had a case. We had a strong case. But because they attacked me personally, that was their only way to avoid those facts getting into the case and getting him in trouble. Okay, they had to get rid of her in order to save Trump. And believe me, they did everything they could to find something on her to spin into a web of bullshit, okay? That's what they did. They had to. They had to replace her and get some sycophant in there in her place to shut the fucking thing down. There is no there is no realistic prospect that a sitting president will be compelled to appear in Georgia to stand trial on the allegations in this indictment, unquote, he wrote. Quote, and if by some extraordinary circumstance Trump were to appear in Georgia on January 21st of 29, the day after his term ends, an immediate jury trial would be impossible. So, where are we talking about? We can't do this. We can't do that. It's impossible. There's no way to do it. Really? So let me tell you something here. Let's say I committed a bunch of crimes. Okay? I stand out in the middle of the road and I shoot somebody dead. Okay? Do you think my attorney could convince a judge that, oh, we can't do this? Especially, come up with all this smoke screen why I shouldn't be dealt with for committing that crime? Come on. These excuses would not pass the light of day for you and me. So why are they letting this go on, for a high official? It's simple, okay? One hand washes the other and both hands wash the face, okay? They're padding people's wallets here. Conspiracies, goddamn, from coming around in all angles here, okay? This is all a big fucking conspiracy that's being done to keep Trump from having to face the music. But you know something, people? This is just one thing, okay? This is just one fucking thing. One crime. How many other crimes do you think we still have? We still got that Jeffrey Epstein thing. We still got all these other, the things that he did when he was hiding documents at his fucking home there in Mar-a-Lago, okay, in the bathroom, okay? I mean, the shit piled on shit here is high. And, yeah, I mean, I can get all bent out of shape over this one thing that he did years back, okay, trying to overturn an election. Okay, but the thing of it is that that's just one thing out of 100 things that we could still get him on. But the idea that Trump did this and he's not going to answer for it suggests that, in the future, somebody else could do the same thing again, and they would cite that as an example of, well, we can't prosecute him because of, the term will conclude in 4 years, and the jury trial would be impossible, and all of a sudden then what are they going to do? They're going to say, well, yeah, the courts let that excuse fly, so we got to do it again. You see what I'm saying? When you set something like this, it gets picked up later because lawyers, they're lawyers, right? They have to defend their clients to the full extent, okay? And they will, that's why a lot of people don't trust lawyers, because they will dig into the dirt in order to find ways to protect their client. And this is dirt now. This is new dirt that's been made thanks to Donald Trump, okay? And that dirt is going to be nice soil for future lawyers to use to get their clients off, okay? That's why you can't let stuff like this go and not be challenged. You just can't throw a case out because the prosecutor says we're dropping the case. That doesn't mean that people are exonerated. It only means that we're not going to go after the crime. That's it, because they personally don't think it's worth it. That doesn't mean I don't think it's worth it. It doesn't mean you don't think it's worth it. It just means the prosecutor is the only one who doesn't think it's worth it. And what does the prosecutor get for dropping the case? That's the question we got to ask. Prosecutor, who padded your wallet? Who told you not to go after this guy? Okay? A prosecutor, by definition, has to prosecute. That's their job. They make their money by prosecuting. When a prosecutor doesn't do his job, that prosecutor would be fired under any other circumstance. They'd be kicked right out. The DA, hey, you wouldn't be working for that firm or whatever anymore. That's it. Okay? When they send you out to go after somebody, you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to, defend the law. And this guy chose not to. So this guy's an asshole. He's a fucking, he's a traitor to his job. This Scandalakis here. So anyway, I'm like really pissed off. But more on the line of pissed off that now a standard has been set here because of this. And that from now on, because of Trump, thanks to Trump, we now have a new bar in place that, you know, if we ever try to hold a public official accountable for something like that, you know, it's going to be harder now to do that because we've shown the courts how to get around it. Okay, and every fucking lawyer from here on out that goes to say, you know, they will know how to do the same thing. They will repeat those same fucking steps to get their clients off for trying to cheat during an election. Now, that flies in the face of people saying we need fair and honest elections. Well, you're not going to get that if the people that are supposed to enforce the law don't do the fucking job. Like I said, you have all the evidence you need to nail this fucker to the wall. You got it. I mean, the public, you know, we all heard the phone call. That went all around the internet, was viral. Everybody heard it, okay? We heard the phone call. The only people who didn't want to hear it were MAGA and Trump supporters. They didn't want to hear it, okay, because they knew what was there. But the fact is, the rest of us did hear it. And it shocked the hell out of us. Trump didn't make any bones. He fucking knew that was going to get out. I mean, how the hell would he not know? They were able to record phone calls way before I was even born. So he had to have known and didn't care that if this phone call leaks out to anybody, they're not going to do anything to me because I'll get away with it. You know, this guy grew up in a privileged environment, everything given to him on a silver platter. He never had to answer for any crime he ever did, okay? And when he did, you know, he managed to make more crimes and you know what I'm saying? This guy just feels like he can walk between the raindrops and that's it, you know? So he doesn't care. If he, like he said, I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot a person dead and get away with it. He could do that right now. He could shoot somebody right now in New York City and get away with it. That's what he said. He was right. That was the first fucking thing that he said that actually was true. He could get away with murder in the middle of fucking New York City and have 1 million witnesses see him do it and he could still walk. Now, doesn't that scare the shit out of you that this is the same fucker now sitting in our White House committing all kinds of nasty shit? Crimes. He instigated an insurrection on our country's government, and he got away with that too. He got away with that too. And our laws say that a person that does something like that cannot run for president. All right? You don't have to convict somebody in a court of law that they did, insurrection. The action is evidence enough in itself. We got the action recorded, the evidence recorded, and we've rounded up people recorded committing insurrection under his fucking direction. Stand back and stand by, okay? All right, come on, people. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to read this fucking guy. And that, like I said, this is the reason why you don't let shit like this go unchallenged. You don't let stuff like this. You don't give up, as a prosecutor. You don't take the money and go and forget about it. We're finding out just how much corruption there is in our government thanks to Trump, okay? Trump has shown us that our government is really corrupt. Remember he was saying, I'm going to drain the swamp? It ain't draining, is it? Okay, the swamp isn't draining. In fact, Trump is the swamp. He's actually made it worse because now he's exposed to this country the level of corruption that exists in it, in the government. It ain't just the fucking rich people. Of course, that's kind of where it started, but it ain't just the rich people anymore ruining the country. Now we know that we got a lot of people in the fucking government workers, senators, congressmen, whatnot, okay, even in the FBI and all. We got a lot of people in our government who are actively destroying this nation from within simply by not doing their job and listening to what Trump says, okay? We're seeing that problem is much bigger than we ever thought possible, okay? So draining the swamp, that's not happening, okay? When he said draining the swamp, what he really meant was we're going to be getting rid of workers. We're going to get rid of as many workers as we can so we can destroy this government from within, you know, and then flush it down the toilet, okay? To replace it with what? What do you think he wants to replace the government with? If he's going to flush it down the toilet, what's going to be in its place? You can't run a country on dirt. You certainly can't run a country through Walmart or a bunch of restaurants or, you know, what businesses, GM or whatever. You know, that's not a government, right? I mean, so who the hell's going to run the government? Or are we even going to have a government? And if we don't have a government, that means we got anarchy ruling the country. And then who the hell's going to want to do business in a country that's, you know, it's just, there's no law. You see what I'm saying? It's all about just ruining the country, destroying it. That's all they want to do is destroy America. Now, think about who would benefit from a destroyed America. Nobody in this country would benefit from it, but we got problems this country has dealt with here on other sides of the world who would love to see America out of the game. Okay? So the idea that there has been no outside influence into this shit would be naive. Okay? It'd be very naive to think that, oh, well, Russia's got nothing to do with this or China's got nothing to do with this. Okay? If people from Saudi Arabia can take an airplane and fly it into buildings in this country, okay, just think of how many other ways they can influence our country, you know, if they do it quietly and not in such a big fashion of destroying buildings. I mean, think about that. We're not as secure as you think we are. We could have all the Patriot Acts and everything you want, but a determined, you know, person or group of people can get in there. You know. So like I said, this is, you know, this is a lot of fucking stuff to worry about here. I know I'm laying out on you. But if we don't worry about it now, when? When? All right, that's it for today. I hope everybody has a great rest of the weekend. Subscribe, comment, share. Keep your ears open for health-related issues. And be civil to one another out there. It would be nice during this time of the year to try to keep some kind of holiday cheer going. And don't step on each other's necks when you're shopping, okay? And be careful. Drive in. Seriously. Do you people want to have, you know, big repair costs along with all the expenses you're going to be racking up this year? Geez, take your time out there, people. Take your time. Don't break your neck shopping, okay? You either get what you're going to get or you won't. I mean, it's just, there's not enough to go around for everybody at these stores. So, you know, it's not about just gift giving either. It's about family. It's about getting together. It's about being a family. Jeez, that's what it is. All right, I'll talk to you later.